So, but it's like what I'm learning more and more is, I talk about like the keys, the formula to success. It's like finding someone who has what you want, figuring out what they did, and then repeating it. Like that's really the oversimplification of like how to become
It's a
successful.
bit of an oversimplification in that, let's say you find this rapper that's made it huge. What worked for him might not necessarily, he might be, we have to factor luck. And
Hmm.
so you have to accept the fact that luck is probably not going to hit you. I'm actually reading a fascinating book called The Hot Streak, where it talks about the complex interplay between luck and skill. Um, and the key to success is to understand you got to build the foundational stuff every day and then create an environment where you're favorable to luck. So
Mm,
a good example for
like
a guy
that.
like me is moving. Yeah. So a guy like me, a good example is moving to Vegas, right?
Hmm.
I could be head honcho DJing where I grew up. That's only going to get me so many opportunities. Being in
Hmm.
Vegas opened so many doors for me. That's what got me with Live Nation.
Hmm.
And, building there would never have happened if I would have stayed there, right? So there's this, like I said, this complex interplay between luck, creating that environment that's favorable to luck, and then doing the right things every day.
Well, I
That
think that's where, talking about what people are doing and repeating it, it's those foundational things like, bookkeeping and advertising and,
Yep,
understanding how to gain attention and understanding how to, you know, like nurture an audience, like certain things like that, where, like whatever it is you're doing, you need certain skill sets, and there's a process of how to get those, whether that's, hiring someone to do it
for
for you,
sure.
whether that's learning it yourself. And but I think you're totally right, like that can only go so far. There is a a piece of luck that comes into this, but in order to take advantage of that luck, there's foundational steps you have to take to make sure you're putting yourself, in an opportunity to take advantage of it, if that
Couldn't
makes
agree more. Couldn't agree more, man. That's exactly it. It's this. It's. I like the word you said, nurture. It's about nurturing stuff and building even when no one's looking, or no, you think no one's looking. Like right now during COVID, like there's so many opportunities. I hate, and I don't want to sound, I don't want to, it's horrible for all the death that's happened and people catching it, but you know, you do have to look at it as a person trying to succeed in whether it's music or business or anything in life, is find those avenues of opportunity that are created because of this sudden change,
sense. Hmm.
right?
Yeah,
Like
it's like I
do a
read this
podcast.
book, and they were talking about how like during the Great Depression, we were all taught that, everyone went broke. But during that time, there's also a lot of people that made a lot of money from the, status of what happened in the world. So, when everything hits the fan, are you going to be the person that runs and hides? Or are you going to be the person that looks for opportunity and executes? And,
You got it.
like you said, it's like that's not to discredit all the shit that's going crazy right now, because it is. But at the end of the day, a
Mhm.
lot of that you can't change. And if you can look at,
Exactly.
instead of like reacting emotionally to everything that's happening, if you can look at it from how is this a good thing and reframing it and looking for opportunity, you're going to find whatever you look for. Whether you look for why the world's burning and why we're all fucked, you're going to find that if you look for it. If you look for,
Exactly.
this is an opportunity where everything's getting taken down and we have an opportunity to rebuild something that's better, like you're going to find that too. You're going to find, ways to make that
More
happen.
than ever now.
Yeah.
Yeah, literally the world can conspire in whatever way you want it. So like I use the analogy, your brain is a garden. So it's very easy to grow weeds in there. Now with social media is designed to hook you. So we all fall for something called confirmation bias. So like whenever we see something that we agree with, we like it more. So all our social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, whatever, they know that putting your news feed stuff that you want to see actually feeds your ego. So it's super
Mm-hmm.
easy to just go down rabbit holes that are all kinds of bad if you don't, look at your brain as a garden that has a potential for beautiful flowers, huge, oak trees, or it could be, infested with weeds and bugs, right?
Yeah, it's whatever you're plugging into it. That's why, like, we are talking off here about like why I hate the morning news so much. Because it's like all you're seeing every day is this car crash, this death, this is going wrong with the government, this is what's going wrong. Because fear and hate, that's what sells. That's what keeps people's attention. And then
Sensationalizes, exactly.
when they have your attention, then they monetize that through advertising. And so their whole business model is basically based off of scaring the shit out of you and making you think that all the world is negative. And like we were saying earlier, right? It's like if all you see is that every single morning, then you're going to start to believe that the world is a really horrible
Those are the
place.
weeds.
You know what I mean?
Those are the weeds, and they're instilling fear, especially now. News is becoming polarized more than ever, right?
Yeah.
Each station represents its own version of
Cognitive
reality,
bias.
which
Yeah.
is crazy.
Yeah. And
Goes
you
back to that cognitive bias on
like,
a
is Corona
weaponized
getting
scale now,
better?
right?
Is it getting worse? Do I need a mask? Do I don't? Here's two sides that I'm supposedly supposed to trust using supposed facts telling me the opposite opinion with a completely opposite agenda. And it's like, what do I believe? It's become so
You're right.
hard to
It,
know what's
it
true.
goes down deeper, but a lot of it is like going back to what you talk about foundation, like, for a young guy, you show a real deep understanding of stuff, right? And that, so like, it's important to understand motives and the way our media is structured. There's a YouTuber I love. This guy is called Knowing Better. And he talks about how the media started polarizing back in the 90s with Fox News and sort of propagandizing the news. And that's the problem when you make it a corporate interest. So, I keep coming back to Canada. So Canada, the main TV station was actually, it's private, it's sort of semi-private. So it's kind of like the BBC in the UK. It's government funded, and in doing so, it keeps it non-biased because it doesn't have a profit motive. So
Mm.
whenever you have a profit motive, it's very easy to skew news one way or the
Yeah.
other, because for a lot of reasons. So
So
it's
let me
it's
ask you this.
becoming a scary place.